I was a disabled man, paralyzed from the waist down. At least, that was true a month ago. But now, my paralysis has been cured. However, my mother still insists that I pretend to be disabled. She wants to use this as a test for my fiancé. As long as my fiancé is willing to marry me as a disabled man, she'll have passed my mother's test. You might ask why my mother is so cautious about my marriage. Because my mother happens to be the richest woman in the entire country, and as her only heir, I stand to inherit trillions in assets. Of course, my girlfriend knows nothing about this. I trust her. I truly believe she loves me. Just a few days ago, she accepted my proposal. But when I returned home, I overheard something outside the door that shattered me. A man's voice came from inside the room. He was speaking flirtatiously with my girlfriend. It sounded like they were lying in bed together, doing something that betrayed me. I was furious and wanted to storm in, but I held myself back. I decided that I would expose her betrayal at our wedding ceremony, and at the same time, I would reveal that I am the heir to a trillion-dollar fortune. That way, she would regret everything she did. Soon, the wedding day arrived. My fiancé and I both showed up in our formal attire, but she didn't seem happy at all. At that moment, I finally admitted to myself, she didn't want to marry me, a so-called disabled man. Seeing her attitude, I decided to act. I picked up the microphone and began telling everyone why I became paralyzed. That's right, it was because of a car accident. I was saving the very woman standing in front of me. That's how the accident happened, and I was paralyzed for 3 whole years. Then I announced to everyone, this wedding is canceled. I will not marry my fiancé. The guests were all stunned. My fiancé got angry and shouted, who else would ever marry a cripple like you? And just as she finished speaking, the doors of the hall swung open. Her lover actually walked in. I was so furious that I laughed. Perfect. I only wanted to embarrass her today, but now she was saving me the trouble. I could deal with both of them at once. When her lover walked in, she actually hugged him in front of everyone. Shameless. Then she introduced him to the guests, saying he was the man she truly wanted to marry, a so-called millionaire. And how did the guests react? Since they were all her family and friends, they actually supported her. They even lifted me up, trying to throw me out. That's when I started my counterattack. The big screen behind us lit up, playing intimate footage of my fiancé and her lover. That's right, there were cameras installed in the house. Their little movie had been recorded in full. The guests covered their eyes in shock. I sat in my wheelchair, watching the shameless expressions on their faces. Then my fiancé started screaming. She said it was all my fault. Because I was disabled? Because I couldn't satisfy her needs. She began riling up the guests again, trying to gain their sympathy. Watching her performance, I couldn't hold back anymore. So I stood up. Under the shocked gazes of my fiancé and the guests, I stood up from my wheelchair. You should have seen their faces. It was hilarious. My fiancé was so stunned she didn't know what to do. Shocked already? I can't wait to see your face when you realize you just lost a trillionaire. And right then, her lover had the nerve to speak up. So what if you can stand? He said. Maybe he was never paralyzed at all. Maybe he just faked it to get her sympathy. And that foolish woman actually agreed with him. She started accusing me of deceiving her feelings. The guests joined in, calling me despicable. But I had already expected them to twist the story, so I took out the hospital documents I had prepared long ago. My medical records from an elite hospital, enough to prove that my paralysis had been real.